Nassau County is sending out a warning to residents ahead of former President Donald Trump's visit to the Coliseum. You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Bufa. Just a day after a suspected assassination attempt on Trump, the county executive spoke about what's being done ahead of his Wednesday rally. Executive Bruce Blakeman says the Secret Service is taking the lead, but Nassau police will be heavily involved.
We will have aviation up in the air. Our mounted units will be on site. Community Affairs, our Pop Cops, the Detective Division, our K-9 unit, Emergency Services unit, Highway Patrol, Corps unit, CERT unit, and our Emergency Ambulance Bureau will all be working that day.
Now, when the former president comes to Long Island, it could impact people who live and work around the Coliseum.
If you don't have business in that area, to stay away, because again, the traffic will be incredibly heavy in that area from about 12 noon till about 10 p.m.
Now, for more on this story and the rally, go to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And today, authorities in Florida released body cam video showing the arrest of Routh, the man taken into custody for the apparent assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Driver, walk straight back! Keep walking!
And you can see Routh getting cuffed right here yesterday after being stopped by sheriff's deputies. Today he appeared in federal court. Now authorities believe the 58-year-old camped outside a golf course in West Palm Beach for nearly 12 hours waiting for Trump. And the Gilgo Beach Task Force has just released new renderings of a biological man whose remains were found along Ocean Parkway. Now, authorities are hoping it may lead to information that can help identify the person.
Unfortunately, this victim suffered a violent death. The cause of death was homicide by blunt force trauma.
Investigators say the victim was of Southern Chinese descent, about 5'6" and between 17 and 23 years old. Anthropologists created this reconstruction by examining the victim's skull. Investigators say the victim was killed at least 5 years before his remains were found in 2011. Now, authorities also say clothing recovered from the victim's remains show he may have been dressed as a woman. Rex Heuermann is charged with the deaths of 5 Gilgo victims as well as a 6th woman. The DA would not say if he's suspected in this case, though, but Tierney did refer to a bail document that claims Heuermann had searched online for pornography featuring Asian men. Let's read more about this story. Go to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And a man convicted of 2 murders is trying to pin the killings on Rex Heuermann. Sherry Einhorn has a story you'll see only in Newsday.
On June 6, 2024, Gilgo killings suspect Rex Heuermann was indicted on murder charges in connection with the death of Sandra Castilla more than 30 years ago. That prompted attorneys for this man, Manorville carpenter John Bittroff, to question whether Heuermann could also be responsible for the 2 deaths their client was convicted of and is serving time for.
So they always insinuated that John was likely responsible for Sandra because one person killed all 3 women.
Rita Tangretti and Colleen McNamee were sex workers whose strangled bodies were discovered in East Patchogue and Shirley in 1993 and 1994. Lisa Marcosia is the deputy bureau chief for the Legal Aid Society Appeals Bureau. She's working on Bittroff's case.
All 3 women were found in a wooded area. Their legs were spread apart. Their hands were above their head. They were each missing 1 shoe. Colleen and Sandra both had their shirts pulled up over their faces. And the DAs also claimed that there were wood chips on all 3 bodies.
Newsday reporter Grant Parpan.
Ray Tierney will say just because Tom Spoda many years ago said he thought those cases were so similar does not mean he shares the same opinion. One of the ways that the district attorney's office today says is different is that Sandra Castilla was mutilated. She had a lot of sharp force wounds on her body that don't exist at the other 2 crime scenes.
Marcosia sent this letter to Suffolk District Attorney Ray Tierney, requesting for a second time access to Castilla's file. We believe that there is exculpatory information contained in that file that will help to establish that Mr. Bittroff did not murder Rita Tangredi and Colleen McNamee. The DA's office responded, saying the materials requested have no relevance to the Bittroff convictions, so the request is denied. Bittroff's wife sent this statement to Newsday, saying in part, "I know my husband, John Bittroff, is innocent. We pray that we can bring him home." Heuermann's attorney declined to comment. Newsday reached out to the families involved in the Bittroff case. The Tangredis declined to comment for our story. The McNamee family says their opinion of the case hasn't changed since Bittroff was sentenced. For Newsday TV, I'm Shari Einhorn.
Now you can see more of our coverage of the Gilgo Beach killings at Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And we're learning more about the plan in Nassau to deputize armed residents. But there are still a lot of unanswered questions about this program. Virginia Huey has a story you'll see only in Newsday.
Despite public outcry, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman is moving forward with a plan to recruit 75 armed civilians for a force of special deputies to be activated whenever he chooses.
If a declaration of emergency were declared by me, then they would be called up.
In March, Blakeman put an ad in Newsday and the county's website seeking residents with gun licenses to serve as on-call special deputies who would assist authorities during county-declared emergencies. 25 approved applicants have completed training in recent weeks at a county facility like this one.
A couple have experience in emergency management situations.
A county spokesperson provided Newsday's criminal justice reporter Michael O'Keefe with background information about 19 of the 25 selected applicants.
9 of them are either retired or current NYPD members. 2 of them were retired Nassau County police officers. We had a Freeport cop and a Floral Park cop apply. One is a bank executive.
That bank executive is Gillies Gate of the Five Towns area, who told Newsday he applied because, quote, there is a higher calling. If the country and the state and the county needs you, you have to answer the call.
There's far many questions still remain, and it's put people on edge. Blakeman's office has not provided much information about how these people will be trained, who is liable in case something happens.
Democratic lawmakers raised those questions and others in this April 24th letter to Blakeman. They asked about training, chain of command during emergencies, and payment to special deputies.
We've gotten no response whatsoever. We don't know what he's doing. We don't know why he's doing it.
In the letter, Democratic lawmakers also said the provisional deputy program is, quote, flagrantly illegal, and called on Blakeman to abandon it immediately. Blakeman has said the provisional deputy sheriffs are being established in accordance with a state statute, County Law 655.
This law was designed to help rural communities up in upstate New York that don't have the resources that we have with a highly trained Nassau County PD.
Blakeman said he's being proactive for worst-case scenarios, such as Superstorm Sandy or a blizzard. He said the provisional deputies would primarily protect infrastructure, but acknowledged at an April press conference that the deputies could be activated to patrol protests.
If there was a riot, that would be a circumstance, obviously, where I would consider that.
The reality is that what is attempting to be done is a attempt by Mr. Blakeman to boost his power and authority without any rightful need. And that's a concern. It's a concern to a lot of people, particularly people who are already victimized.
But Blakeman says his critics are overreacting.
It's a list, it's a database, and I don't know what the big brouhaha's all about.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Now to read more about this story, go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And affordable housing is being built at a pretty famous address at the East End. Now we're talking about Love Lane in Mattituck. The Southold Town Board approved a plan to convert an old bank into 12 apartments. The town is expected to hold a lottery to see who gets to rent these apartments. And also, house hunters are overlooking lots of factors just to get into a new home. Rachel Weiss has the story you'll see only in Newsday.
planes, trains, and automobiles. When you're buying a home, getting too close to any of them once might have been a deal breaker. But local real estate agents say that's starting to change.
People that are relocating from the city, they're kind of used to cars and honking and sirens going on all the time, so it's a little bit of white noise for them. So they weren't as opposed to living off of main streets, per se, or next to railroad stations, stuff like that. We do still have such an inventory problem, so there's just less choices for people. So with that, people are a little bit more willing to overlook certain things.
Local real estate agents say home buyers moving here from New York City actually want to live by a train station, and it also works for Long Islanders who have to commute there for work. That's the case for Dheeraj Ramchandani, who lives right alongside these train tracks.
Me and my wife were looking for a house, and then we wanted to move a bit closer to the city, around Hicksville or that area. I was browsing Zillow, and then I found this. So proximity to rail station is one of the things that brought us to this house.
The software engineer works in the city 4 days a week, and he walks right to the train station.
I think for us, getting this house, proximity to railway station was more important for us rather the noise. This is our first house, so we just like it as it is because it's our first house.
Rachel Weiss for NewsdayTV.
Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And to read more about the housing market on Long Island, click Get More on the NewsdayTV video box. Now let's take a look at your cloudy and rainy Long Island weather. It's going to be a mess this week, but we had a beautiful one last week, so I don't want to hear any complaining. So tonight we are in the 60s. Tomorrow we have some clouds, not just a little bit of them too. We have them pretty much all day, as you can see right here, looking at a closer look in our tomorrow planner. And as for the 7-day forecast, here comes the rain, but it looks like it's tapering off right by the weekend, so can't be too upset.
Long Island weather is brought to you by PTRC.
You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us.